Thank you, thank you. So one of the most annoying things that comes with being a shrink is that when I introduce what I do in social settings, I often have to endure lectures from people who have zealous beliefs that it's impossible for people to actually change. Luckily for my profession, the discovery of neuroscience has also led us to understand neuroplasticity. And neuroplasticity basically teaches us that our brains have the capacity not just to change content, but to change structure and function from the day we're born all the way until we die. We've also discovered something called mirror neurons, which teach us that not only do neurons fire off when we engage in an action, but they also fire off when we watch somebody else engage in an action. So this is why when you see the neighbor girl eat shit on her skateboard and skid across the pavement, you can feel it crawling up your own arm. Her experience is being replicated within your own brain. What happens with mirror neurons basically is that when you're watching someone and it's replicated in your brain, there's a chemical reaction that's determining the neural pathways that are being developed, which is basically determining the ways in which the resources in your brain are being allocated. So what part of the brain is being strengthened and developed. So what we know from neuroplasticity and mirror neurons is that our brains have the capacity to change, and our relationships are basically the chisels. They're the tools that are going to determine what specific shape our brain is taking. So our relationships with our earliest caregivers are going to be the most important, because that's a time in our lives when we're the most vulnerable to mimicking, imitating, and watching others and internalizing that in our brain. So basically, your parents are embedded in your head. The next most important group is your friends, your peers, the people that you spend time with, your partners. Because you're with them the most often and because you identify with them, these people are also going to be embedded in your brain. So the ways they act, the ways they engage, what they feel. Essentially, just like the girl who wiped down on her skateboard, the people that you're closest to are constantly causing chemical reactions within your body based on their experiences, their internal worlds. The thing about this, though, is that it's got to be the people that you're around the most regularly. So encounters with people that are sporadic or short-term are going to have way less of an impact on your biology than the people that you see on a daily, regular basis. So unfortunately, it might be your boss. Just saying. So relationships that are emotionally cut off, they're sort of emotionally subdued, those relationships are basically going to cause an underdevelopment in your right brain, which is the part of your brain that also experiences pleasure. So if you have a partner or a parent who's dismissive of emotions or your internal world or their internal world, they're actually going to cause neurological flatlining in your brain, which can ultimately even lead to depression. On the flip side, are relationships that are emotionally intense or aggressive or hostile or unpredictable. They're going to activate your limbic system in the back of your brain and basically going to cause a reactive, defensive biological process. There are studies that show that children that grow up in environments that are hostile and unpredictable, whether it's emotional or physical, well, it's happening to them or happening to a parent, they're likely to have an amygdala, which is the fear center, that's up to 2 times as big as their peers who don't have an environment like that. Your relationships that are emotionally attuned, the people that feel you, that get you, that understand you, that's playful, where there's warmth, those relationships are thickening your neocortex, which is a part of your brain that does problem solving and emotion regulation. Relationships that have some of both, that are sometimes warm and attuned and sometimes flatlining, sometimes warm, sometimes aggressive, they're also activating your fear centers because your brain is having to scan, what's this person going to be like today? So those of you who have had majority of relationships that are warm and attentive and attuned, you basically won the brain lottery. You're likely someone who's receptive, you're likely someone who's very regulated, and you pretty much enjoy life. And so for those of you who didn't get that, you're screwed. No, I'm just kidding. You're going to have to make a choice. You're going to have to go out and seek relationships that are good for your brain, and you may have to edit or change or even delete relationships that are causing any of those negative affects. Sticks and stones may break your bones, but your friends are changing your brain. So if you're stuck in a cycle of bad relationships, go find a therapist that you really enjoy. Don't work with someone you don't like. And basically, as that change starts happening in that relationship, what I need you to do is tell everybody about it, so that I stop getting accosted at social events. Thank you.